What's good, everyone? I just got back from seeing Hard Eyes. It's a Valentine's Day themed slasher, and I gotta admit, I had zero expectations for this movie. I thought it looked like it might be okay. When I saw the trailers, I'm like, they're giving a lot of the kills away here. Like, they're good, but they're giving them a lot away. I thought it looked like it was playing itself too seriously for something as goofy as a guy with hearts on his eyes. And I really just thought it was just going to be another one of these movies. It would be okay. It probably would be boring, maybe a little dumb, but it would be fine. And I was very pleasantly surprised. And honestly, maybe there's some recency bias here, but I seriously think this is one of the best slasher movies I've ever seen. And I thought that the Valentine's Day thing was just going to be a little bit of a gimmick, just a skin to put over it to get people to watch a cheap horror movie on Valentine's Day, but this movie is a full on rom com, which I did not expect at all. And I normally hate rom coms. I normally don't buy into the relationships. I don't think they're funny. But this one just nailed all of that. And this movie is one of the better slasher movies and one of the better rom coms for its characters. And that you actually buy into the relationship. It's funny. It's a good slasher movie. It has lots of kills, really good ones, really gory ones. There were so many, a couple times where I thought like surely they're gonna cut away in a second. They're not gonna show that, and then they did. And it's not like as graphic, bloody, brutal as something like Terrifier, but this is like this movie kind of reminded me a lot of Thanksgiving from a few years back, another holiday themed slasher movie, and it feels very similar. It has that sort of same gore level, maybe goes a little bit further than it, but it doesn't have that like sort of coarse, mean spirited Eli Roth tone. This one's a lot more lighthearted, a lot more fun, and yeah, thoroughly enjoyed this one. Let's start off talking about the actual Hard Eyes killer himself. I think it's a really cool design. I like what they do with him. His gimmick is that he goes after couples and kills them on Valentine's Day. I like where they went with the actual character. There's a big sort of reveal about who he is at the end of the movie. I halfway predicted it and it halfway subverts expectations in an interesting way. I've never seen a slasher like regularly use a crossbow. I thought that was really cool, made for some really great kills. Opening scene of this movie where he's like killing dudes, it like sets the stage for like this movie is going to be brutal. He is a ruthless killer that will mess you up really bad. I thought like that opening scene made me realize, oh shoot, this is gonna be a good one, and it was. I really like that he has like this whole arsenal of weapons. There's like a lot of very creative kills. A lot of slasher movies will give them like their iconic one weapon. Like Jason has his machete, Michael has his knife, Freddy has his fingernails, and that can make for a lot of very samey kills, just people getting stabbed in the same way over and over and over again. And this movie is very creative, doesn't really do anything twice. I really really enjoyed about this movie how just there's so much variety in the kills. Like I said, he had a crossbow, there was like throwing knives, there's just like killing people with a wrench, that stuff like that. It's just really cool. So yeah, as a slasher movie on just that level, it works great. It's already one of the best. But at the core of this movie, it's sort of a rom com, and again, big surprise there. Not everyone's gonna like that. I don't think they're going for a bloody slasher movie and they get something a little bit different. That might not be for everyone. And I wouldn't have thought it would be for me, and it absolutely worked for me. We get our leads, Jay and Allie, where Jay was such a, a weird character. How he doesn't feel like a real person, but that's like sort of like part of his charm. It's almost like he lives in like this fantasy world, but it comes off so genuine and earnest that it's just really charming. He's just a really like fun guy to be around. And then you get Allie, who's kind of like the most normal person in this movie. Everyone sort of acts like a character out of a comedy movie, and she does too at times, but the least out of anyone. And I think having a more normal, grounded lead really helped it to attach yourself to that character more. The sort of setup for this movie is that and it's kind of generic rom-com setup, but also plays really well into the slasher gimmick we have here, where she pretends to fall in love with this guy to make her ex-boyfriend jealous, and then Hard Eyes Killer decides to go after them because it only goes after couples on Valentine's Day. Like, no, we're not a couple, and then they get hunted down by the slasher anyway, and then all sorts of wacky hijinks ensue, and it's just a lot of fun. And of course, I don't think this is a spoiler, but they fall in love by the end. It is a romance. It's pretty obvious, and it's believable. It works really well. Now, I'd have to say, I think really my only gripe with the movie is a really minor thing, and I can't really say it because it's a spoiler, but you get to a point at the big finale of the movie, and there's a situation the characters are put in where Allie has to make a choice, and the way it plays out doesn't feel realistic. There's in a situation set up by the villain, and it just kind of makes the villain seem dumb, and more than that, it makes the writer feel dumb. That's like, this, I get where you're going for, but you just didn't really pull it together. This doesn't fully make sense to make it as compelling as you want it to be. As I was watching it, it was kind of irking me, and then the way it ended up playing out, I'm like, okay, that works, but that's also a problem in itself. But I can't really say what it was without spoiling it. But it really wasn't a huge deal. Like, that was literally my only problem with the movie. I, again, thoroughly enjoyed it. Highly recommend it. My final score, I give it a 9 out of 10. Like, again, maybe if I rewatched it, it'd go down a little bit. I'll see some more flaws in it, but out of the theater just like an hour or two ago, like, I loved it. I thoroughly recommend you go out and see it if you're a fan of these kinds of movies. And yeah, that's all I got for Hard Eyes. Thanks for watching.